The Temptations and the Supremes were the standout groups of the Motown Dynasty. Originating in their hometown of Detroit, Michigan, back in 1959 as the Primes and the Primettes, they underwent a transformation upon signing with Motown in 1961, adopting the names that would define their illustrious careers. Yet, amidst the glitz and glamour of Motown's heyday, there brewed an undercurrent of tension and rivalry. This simmering animosity came to light through insider revelations of the unspoken beef between Diana Ross and David Ruffin. As tensions escalated, the rift between them became increasingly apparent to all. Amidst the backdrop of Diana Ross's meteoric rise to fame, there were moments that revealed the complexities of her persona. Witnessing her actions firsthand, there were times when reactions ranged from disbelief to incredulity. I distinctly remember thinking, "Oh my God, but you ventured into uncharted territory." While some approached her with caution, navigating conversations delicately as her behavior became increasingly erratic, others seemed indifferent to the repercussions. It became apparent that restraint was necessary, as I found myself biting my tongue on numerous occasions. In stark contrast, Florence exhibited a fearless demeanor, never hesitating to speak her mind. Her unwavering resolve was unmatched, whether in vocal or lyrical exchanges. Diana Ross's influence extended far beyond her time in the limelight, setting a standard in the music industry that reverberated for decades. Even in her absence from the spotlight, her legacy endured, positioning her not just as a pioneer, but as a trailblazer shaping the landscape of modern music. However, despite her remarkable success, Diana faced her fair share of personal and professional challenges. These obstacles, at times monumental in nature, cast a shadow over her otherwise illustrious career. The adage, "with great power comes great responsibility," rings true, yet it appears Diana Ross may have shouldered this burden to an excessive degree. As she navigated from one challenge to the next, the toll of success manifested in unforeseen ways. In addition to the challenges within her music career, Diana Ross's personal struggles had a ripple effect on those around her, including individuals she once considered family. As her stardom soared to unprecedented heights, the dynamics of her relationships shifted, leading to tensions and conflicts. Moreover, the sheer magnitude of her fame led to a culture of deference, where everyone around her catered to her every whim. Consequently, it became increasingly difficult for Diana to recognize the extent of her downward spiral until it was too late. It's not every day that revelations surface about a global icon having a formidable adversary, yet this was seemingly the case with Diana Ross and David Ruffin. Growing up in the 90s, many are familiar with the immense influence these singers wielded during their prime. Despite their seemingly harmonious duets, the reality behind the scenes was far from harmonious. Their public feud, though often downplayed by their respective publicity teams, was a source of significant tension. Diana's disdain for Ruffin might have preceded their public clashes, presenting obstacles to Ruffin's own career aspirations. This rivalry not only hindered Ruffin's professional advancement, but also took a toll on his personal life. While the narrative surrounding their feud has evolved over the years, recent revelations shed new light on the complexities of their relationship. Surprisingly, Diana's involvement in the feud may not be as innocent as previously believed, challenging perceptions of her angelic image. In addition to Diana Ross's resilience amidst turmoil, what truly astonishes is how she managed to maintain her composure and professionalism in the face of adversity. Considering her status as one of the biggest singers in the world, it's rare for individuals to challenge such towering figures, given the potential repercussions, particularly within the same industry. David Ruffin's seeming indifference to Diana Ross's industry power during their feud is telling of the complexities underlying their rivalry. Reports suggest a subtle face-off between Ruffin and Ross during the peak of their individual careers, when their groups, the Temptations and the Supremes, converged for a joint performance. While both sides vied for prominence, neither was willing to cede the spotlight, adding layers to their ongoing feud. The Temptations and the Supremes, hailed as the supergroups of the Motown Dynasty, embodied the essence of Berry Gordy's vision for black musical groups. Originating in Detroit, Michigan, in 1959 as the Primes and the Primettes, respectively, their transition to Motown in 1961 marked a pivotal moment in their careers. The year 1964 proved transformative for both groups, with chart-topping hits like Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes and My Girl by the Temptations, propelling them into the mainstream spotlight. As Motown's flagship products, they epitomized Gordy's ethos of the sound of young America, setting the stage for future collaborations and influencing generations of artists. The convergence of these iconic groups not only showcased their musical prowess, but also hinted at the underlying tensions simmering beneath the surface. Despite their outward cohesion, internal conflicts and power struggles threatened to overshadow their collective success. The intricate dynamics between Diana Ross and David Ruffin exemplified the complexities of navigating fame and ambition within the cutthroat music industry. As revelations continue to emerge, shedding light on the intricacies of their feud, it becomes evident that their legacy transcends mere musical prowess. The collaboration between Diana Ross and the Supremes with the Temptations marked a significant milestone in Motown's history, symbolizing Berry Gordy's vision of unity and musical excellence. Their joint effort resulted in the release of Joined Together, a collection that immortalizes their studio sessions and captures the essence of their historic collaboration. The seeds of this collaboration were sown when the Supremes and the Temptations showcased their talents on The Ed Sullivan Show in late 1967, performing a mesmerizing medley of each other's songs. By early spring 1968, both groups found themselves in the studio, laying down tracks for what would become an iconic album. In November 1968, Joined Together was unveiled to the world, featuring the lead single, I'm Going to Make You Love Me. This soulful ballad, featuring the captivating vocals of Eddie Kendricks and Diana Ross, soared to the top of both the pop and R&B charts, solidifying their collaborative success. While the official narrative may suggest that the collaboration ended with this chart-topping single, the reality was far more nuanced. During rehearsals for their joint performance on The Ed Sullivan Show, the Temptations were taken aback by the subtle alterations made to accommodate Diana Ross's voice. David Ruffin, a prominent member of the Temptations, harbored intense animosity towards these adjustments, viewing them as a compromise to their sound. The tension between Diana Ross and David Ruffin escalated beyond just musical differences. It became a clash of egos and power dynamics within the Motown hierarchy. What began as subtle tweaks to accommodate Diana's vocals eventually morphed into a situation where she was treated with kid gloves, shielded from any criticism or challenge. This shift in dynamics came as a shock to many who had worked with Diana in the past, as it was a departure from their previous collaborative spirit. Diana's burgeoning status as the face of her group, coupled with her romantic involvement with Motown manager Berry Gordy, only exacerbated the friction within the group. The Supremes, once a cohesive unit, now found themselves overshadowed by Diana's solo aspirations and the preferential treatment she received. This disparity in treatment further fueled Ruffin's resentment, prompting him to confront Diana openly during performances. Gordy, keen on maintaining Diana's status as Motown's leading lady, was quick to quash any attempts by Ruffin to steal the spotlight. Unfortunately for Ruffin, his vocal opposition to Diana's dominance proved detrimental to his own career. Reports from 1967 shed light on Ruffin's growing demand for special treatment, epitomized by his insistence on exclusive privileges, such as private limousine rides with his then-girlfriend, Tammy Terrell. This preferential treatment only served to alienate Ruffin from his fellow Temptations, who grew increasingly frustrated with his behavior and sense of entitlement. As tensions continued to mount within the Temptations, exacerbated by Ruffin's increasingly erratic behavior and demands, Motown's rebranding of the Supremes as Diana Ross and the Supremes only fueled Ruffin's sense of entitlement. Seeing Diana Ross elevated to solo status, Ruffin insisted on the same treatment for his group, demanding that the Temptations be renamed as David Ruffin and the Temptations. This audacious move not only strained relations with Motown executives, but also intensified Ruffin's clashes with Berry Gordy. Ruffin's behavior became increasingly erratic, compounded by his escalating drug use. His demand for transparency regarding the group's earnings only added to the mounting tension. Motown attempted to appease Ruffin's concerns by allowing an outside accounting firm access to the group's finances, but the firm's limited access failed to satisfy Ruffin's suspicions, exacerbating the already strained relationship between Ruffin and Motown. Amidst Ruffin's tumultuous behavior, his regular drug use further frayed relations within the group. His absences from group meetings, rehearsals, and concerts became more frequent, causing disruptions and logistical challenges for the Temptations. The rest of the group grew increasingly frustrated and concerned about Ruffin's reliability and the negative impact his behavior was having on their collective success. The breaking point came when Ruffin skipped a crucial engagement at a Cleveland supper club in June 1968 to attend a show with his new girlfriend, Barbara Gail Martin, daughter of Dean Martin. This blatant disregard for his professional commitments was the final straw for the Temptations, leading them to conclude that Ruffin's behavior had crossed a line that could no longer be tolerated. As tensions reached a boiling point within the Temptations, their decision to officially part ways with Ruffin on June 27, 1968, marked a significant turning point in the group's history. With legal documentation in hand, the other four members took the decisive step to terminate Ruffin's involvement in the group. The very next day, Dennis Edwards, a former member of the Contours, was swiftly brought in as Ruffin's replacement. Despite initial encouragement from Ruffin himself, who was friends with Edwards, the transition was anything but smooth. At Edwards' official debut performance with the Temptations in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, on July 7th, Ruffin shocked everyone by storming onto the stage, seizing the microphone from Edwards and belting out, "Ain't too proud to beg," as if he never left the group. This brazen act of defiance left the audience and the rest of the group stunned, underscoring the depth of Ruffin's resentment and refusal to accept his dismissal. Undeterred by the repercussions of his actions, Ruffin continued to disrupt the group's performances throughout their July tour, sneaking into venues and seizing the spotlight whenever he could. Despite the group's efforts to tighten security and prevent further disruptions, Ruffin's persistence only served to deepen the rift between him and his former bandmates. His repeated attempts to reclaim his former glory, even at the expense of his former friends and colleagues, marked the beginning of the end for Ruffin's career with the Temptations. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of challenging established power dynamics within the music industry, particularly when it came to figures as influential as Diana Ross. The challenges faced by those who dared to challenge Diana Ross's dominance extended far beyond David Ruffin. In fact, anyone who attempted to rival her position as the focal point of attention risked facing dire consequences within the industry, regardless of whether they hailed from her own group. Rumors and whispers about Ross's behavior behind the scenes were not uncommon. Mary Wilson, one of the Supremes, shed light on the internal strife within the group, revealing how Ross allegedly sought to undermine her fellow bandmates. Wilson's candid revelations painted a picture of discord within the iconic ensemble, showing a side of their success that was often overshadowed by their chart-topping hits. Incidents from their time on tour further highlighted the tensions simmering within the Supremes. Accounts of Ross's alleged backstage antics, such as shutting down fellow members' performances, added fuel to the rumors circulating about her behavior. These anecdotes offered glimpses into the less glamorous aspects of the music industry during that era, where power struggles and interpersonal conflicts were often swept under the rug. Despite the internal challenges, the Supremes' rise to fame was nothing short of meteoric. From their humble beginnings as the Primettes to becoming chart-topping sensations, their journey mirrored the evolution of American pop music itself. Their success challenged the dominance of male artists like the Beatles and Elvis Presley, paving the way for future generations of female musicians. The journey of the Supremes to widespread acclaim was a progression that happened in several stages. Despite facing initial challenges in gaining recognition, their trajectory quickly shifted with the release of their breakthrough hit, Where Did Our Love Go, in 1964. This chart-topping success propelled the band into the spotlight, solidifying their status as one of the top artists of the 1960s music scene. The original lineup of the band, consisting of Diana Ross, Mary Wilson, Florence Ballard, and Betty McGlown, initially formed as the Primettes before signing with Motown Records under the guidance of President Berry Gordy. However, from the outset, disparities in treatment among the members became apparent. While all members contributed as vocalists, Ross received noticeably more attention and favoritism within the group hierarchy. As the Supremes continued to navigate the challenges of fame and success, internal tensions and dynamics further complicated their journey. Eventually, these tensions reached a breaking point, leading to Diana Ross's decision to leave the band in 1970 and embark on a solo career. This pivotal moment marked the beginning of the end for the Supremes, ultimately resulting in the group's disbandment in 1977. Adding to the complexities within the group was Berry Gordy's romantic involvement with Diana Ross, which significantly influenced the dynamics of the band. Gordy's deep affection for Ross was evident, as he openly expressed his love and admiration for her, admitting, "I was madly in love with Diana Ross. She was the big star of my life." This romantic entanglement further underscored Ross's elevated status within the group and the music industry as a whole. However, Gordy and Ross's relationship transcended mere infatuation, as evidenced by their intimate connection and shared history. In a surprising turn of events, following their initial split, Ross and Gordy rekindled their relationship, culminating in a physical intimacy that resulted in a profound consequence. In late 1970, Ross and Gordy slept together, a revelation detailed by InStyle magazine. Shortly thereafter, Ross married music executive Robert Ellis Silverstein, leading many to believe that Silverstein was the father of Ross's child, Rhonda. As the complexities of Diana Ross's personal life continued to unfold, the truth regarding her daughter Rhonda's paternity brought about a significant revelation. Rhonda's physical resemblance to Berry Gordy, despite her father Robert Ellis Silverstein being white, prompted Ross and Gordy to confront the reality of their connection. Gordy candidly shared their realization with Barbara Walters, recounting, "When she had the child, we had no idea that it was mine, but Diana and I discussed it, and we realized that it was indeed my child." Despite this acknowledgement, Rhonda remained unaware of Gordy's paternity until she reached the age of 13. Ross and Gordy made a deliberate decision to withhold this information from Rhonda until she was emotionally prepared to comprehend it. Reflecting on this decision, Gordy affirmed, she felt that the child should not know anything until she was able to handle it and understand it. This strategic approach ultimately proved beneficial, as Rhonda demonstrated maturity and resilience upon learning the truth. Rhonda's reaction to the revelation underscored her resilience and emotional maturity. She acknowledged her physical resemblance to Gordy, recognizing the undeniable truth. The bottom line was, "I looked just like Gordy, and my sisters looked just like their father, a 6'8" tall Jewish-American man," Rhonda candidly shared with the New York Post. Ross later chose to publicly disclose this information during a 1993 interview on The Winfrey Show. As Diana Ross's relationship with Berry Gordy developed, it wielded significant influence over the dynamics within the band, particularly elevating Ross's position as the frontwoman. This newfound control over the group not only shaped Ross's image but also raised questions about her intentions in the entertainment industry. While some speculated that it was merely a matter of boosting her ego, others perceived it as a strategic move to establish herself more prominently. Mary Wilson, Ross's bandmate, didn't mince words when discussing Ross's behavior, likening it to that of a spoiled brat. Wilson recalled how Ross's desire for attention and influence grew as the group's success skyrocketed. Ross's relationship with Berry Gordy became a conduit for expressing her dissatisfaction, amplifying her voice within the band. Wilson recounted instances where Ross's actions subtly undermined her bandmates, Florence and herself, during performances and public appearances. Ross would assert her dominance by deflecting attention away from her fellow band members, a tactic that Wilson observed with growing frustration. Whether it was through wardrobe choices or stage maneuvers designed to spotlight Ross, the cumulative effect was the widening of the divide between Ross and the rest of the group. While these actions may have seemed insignificant in isolation, they fueled resentment and sowed the seeds of discord within the band, ultimately straining their relationships. As Diana Ross's aspirations for a solo career grew, tensions within the group reached a breaking point, with her bandmates increasingly questioning her commitment to the collective. Despite Ross's assurances that she never intended to abandon her fellow Supremes, the reality painted a different picture. Berry Gordy's candid assessment reflected the underlying dynamics, noting how Ross's prominent position inadvertently marginalized her bandmates. Gordy's unwavering favoritism towards Ross exacerbated the situation as he openly acknowledged her as his favorite and justified the unequal treatment by citing her undeniable talent. While Ross's star ascended, it came at the expense of the Supremes, leaving her bandmates, like Mary Wilson, feeling sidelined and undervalued in comparison. This internal friction ultimately led to Ross's departure from the group. Ross offered her own perspective on her tenure with the band, a narrative tinged with both triumph and sorrow. Recalling her experiences in a later interview, she painted a bittersweet picture, contrasting the soaring success of the Supremes with the emotional toll she endured from her bandmates' treatment. Ross confessed to feeling utterly disheartened as she found herself alienated by her peers, even amidst shared performances or conversations where her absence was palpably discussed. Caught in the crossfire of internal strife within the group and grappling with personal challenges, Ross sought solace in carving her own path, yearning for a space where her musical talents could truly shine. Her decision to embark on a solo career marked a pivotal moment, one that propelled her to unparalleled success, but also cast shadows over her relationships with those around her. While some view Ross's trajectory with skepticism, attributing her actions to the pressures of her environment, others argue that she bore responsibility for her choices. Yet, amidst the debate, there remains a question lingering in the air. Could Ross have charted a different course, one that honored her talent while nurturing the bonds she once held dear? As opinions diverge, the legacy of Diana Ross continues to spark dialogue, prompting reflection on the complexities of fame and the human experience. As we conclude this exploration of Diana Ross's journey, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe Diana's actions were a result of her environment, or do you think she could have chosen differently? Comment down below to let us know. If you found this content engaging, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful discussions on music, culture, and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this journey.